It's really a privilege and an honor to be here. I don't take anything for granted in this life. How we met itself was I don't know. Some people can say it was coincidental, but it wasn't. I was at Putney Bridge. I was waiting for Eric. Eric called me. He's running 10 minutes behind, and this lovely lady was playing an instrument, and I was just so. I said, "Wow, okay, Eric can wait." Just listening to the music just really uplifted me, and obviously, since Eric was late, a conversation started between our teacher and I, and it has ultimately led to where we are today. So that's kind of my story. And the reason why I thought it might be useful to come here is because, she told me about working with the Ukrainian community and just being, just feeling so bad about what was going on. And it really touched me. Her passion touched me. A lot of times things are done for the sake of money, for example, fame. And I just knew that with her, this was just a pure love. It was a pure passion. And I thought, wow, okay, it would be very nice to get involved and see exactly what's going on. Perhaps share a bit of my story that it may encourage someone that's here as well. What I want to talk about is generally about life. I call them life interruptions. Life interruptions. You may be going a certain path in life, and then, boom, something happens. I call it a life interruption. It happened to me and my family. We were having a great time. I'm talking about my late wife. We met in Phoenix, Arizona. It was a great time, great energy, great chemistry, and things seemed to go on great. We were both in the financial services business. Eventually, we started our own company together. We hired employees. It was good. We had 2 beautiful boys. Everything was good. To be honest, I was an envy of a lot of people, and people were like, "How do you do it? Everything seems to just go well for you. It looks like you have the magic touch." It wasn't a magic touch. It was a season in my life where things just seemed to go well. I'm sure that you may have experienced a season in life where everything seemed to be going well, until suddenly life interrupts. Well, one day my wife started to complain of headaches. One thing led to another, and we found out that they were not just headaches, it was actually brain cancer. I mean, this was a healthy young woman. And just one day, all of a sudden, boom, an interruption. Brain cancer was the interruption. And it was like, is this a dream? What? How in the hell did this happen? I know Dr. Matter said something about, you ask, why? Why us? Why? This doesn't make any sense. The surgeon said, well, sadly, she probably has maybe 3 months to live. My children were 3 and 5 at the time. And you can imagine the kind of stress and emotion that would well up. And yes, for a time, I was very angry. Thankfully, 3 months turned into 3 years. Thankfully, the surgeon was wrong, which gave 2 boys a bit of time to get to know their mother. But essentially, what I'm describing is a life interruption. What do you do when your life is just suddenly interrupted? As in, perhaps in the situation with Ukraine, where your life was a certain way before, and all of a sudden, boom, there is an interruption. This is exactly what we went through. I can relate to other types of interruption in this life. When you get interrupted, everything is out of balance. Your whole life as you knew it is just completely out of balance. Your work life, your relationships with others, the way you think, everything is just jumbled up. It's just out of balance. The way to get out of that is a process, it's a healing process. It takes time. Healing takes time. But healing also takes your part, not just somebody else's part, because this experience came to you. And in a sense, you have to be a participant in your own healing. It can't be relegated to this person, that person, that person. You also have to be a participant in that healing. When your life gets interrupted, everything is, as I said, just completely out of balance. And it is a process of getting back. The question of why did this happen? Eventually I changed the question of why to what now? What now? My question was flipped into just stop asking why. I can't seem to find the answers. Why would a young woman all of a sudden have brain cancer that no one could explain? No doctor could explain. How did these things happen? Oh, we don't know. Even till today, the answer is we don't know how it happens. But we do know it happens, but we don't know. So my question changed to what now? What now? What now? What now meant, how can this pain in me be turned into a life purpose? How is it possible that this pain would become a platform to be a helper to some? And that's how things began to change for me, was the what now? What can I learn? What lessons can I learn through this devastating experience? What lessons? Again, these things take time. Now, there are three parts to the human being. We have the physical body that was explained here. We all have a physical body. And then internally, we have what I call the soul, which includes the mind, the emotions, and the will. Today, we're getting an awesome lesson on mindfulness. It is an essential part of the human being. Now, a medical doctor, if we get sick physically, will take care of the physical body. If something were wrong with us, we would go to a medical doctor. But when something is wrong inside and we need healing, where do we go? We come to a workshop like this, where we begin to learn, how do we help ourselves? What can we do to help ourselves to get better? We hear about others that talk about their experiences and what they do. We listen to the teacher that has had years of experience in dealing with stress. And so that part of humanity gets help. The mind, very important. And then we have the other part, which is the spirit. And this is where we talk about what do you connect with? Who do you connect with in the universe? Is it God? Do you call it a higher power? Do you say angels? What's in the spiritual realm that you connect to? Personally, I'm a Christian, so I connect to the Lord Jesus Christ. But it doesn't mean that everybody connects to him. But the essential question is, who do you connect to? We must, just as you connect in the mind, such as you connect in the human body, physical body. If you say, well, I don't have any connection in the spirit, well, there's something missing. You've done the physical body and you've done well. You've attended to the mind, and yes, that's good. how about the spirit? It's an area that we all ought to think about. We didn't just come here by happenstance. And so those are the three areas that in the process of healing, we need to actually examine. Now, the interruptions of life are not meant to be permanent. If it were, I'll still be in bed depressed for years. If a life situation was meant to be permanent, I will be in bed or perhaps even dead. If it was meant to be a permanent situation. It was an interruption. It wasn't a permanent story. The only reason why I'm here is it was a shift in thinking. A shift. This situation does not have to be a permanent interruption. It doesn't have to be something that stays with me for the rest of my life in a negative, unhealthy way. It can actually be flipped to help others and give me the essential energy to feel like I'm making a difference in people's lives. And so I would encourage you also in whatever situation and place you are in the process. It's a process, as I said. Healing takes time. It takes time. It's a process. And you need to be kind to yourself. However, you need to know that this is not a permanent situation. It's just a temporary part of life which can be made beautiful again. Well, as Ronks said, she's had happy thoughts. Why? Well, life can be beautiful again. One can begin again, afresh, a new beginning, yet again. That's how we ought to look at life. In the process, I wrote a book. I'm going to leave some here for anyone that's interested in reading a part of it. It's called The Evolution of Healing. Healing is very, very close to my heart. Most of the time I talk about healing. It's very, very close. So I want to thank you for the few minutes that you've given me to share this stuff.